Welcome to the Shaping Portsmouth podcast. Shaping Portsmouth is a collaboration of key Portsmouth businesses, transforming Portsmouth together. Hello, welcome to another Shaping Portsmouth podcast with me, Dave Humphries, and today I'm joined by Brian Harpur, Managing Director of GRP Solutions. Welcome, Brian.
Morning, Dave.
First and foremost, Brian, you are MD of GRP Solutions, which is glass reinforced plastics.
That's it.
So fiberglass company.
Fiberglass, yeah.
You're also a Shaping Portsmouth patron.
Yes.
So one of our wonderful partners. Thank you very much for that.
Our pleasure.
And certainly quite a footprint actually with GRP in the community, and you're doing some quite interesting stuff that we'll talk about. But one particularly that I wanted to talk to you about was the Naomi House Big Five challenge, which we'll get to in a bit as well.
Perfect.
Quite an adventure there. So, where'd you come from originally? You're not Portsmouth originally, are you, Brian?
No, I'm a West Londoner
West
originally.
Londoner.
So, yeah, I come from a background of having a Welsh father and a Scottish mother who managed to find their way to Isleworth in West London.
Yeah.
And that's where I grew up. But then I've moved to Essex after being married, North Wales, and then I came down to Portsmouth when I worked for a very similar organisation some years ago.
The North Wales connection, is that the family one through your dad? Or?
Yeah, so
You ended up there?
No, we had a midlife crisis very early on in our 20s. We were both accountants. We were working in Romford at the time, and we were listening to Terry Wogan coming into Romford every day, and we turned around to each other and said, we can't do this for the rest of our life, as much as we liked listening to him. And and I'd always had a passion for wanting to have a restaurant. And so we ended up borrowing money and set up a small hotel up in North Wales. So that was the North Wales connection. My father was from the south.
You'd think if Terry Wogan was going to cause anyone to move anywhere, it'd be Ireland, Wales.
So,
different.
Yeah, I think it was. It was just one of those things of commuting every day. Actually, we both liked our jobs, but we wanted to do something different. And I love cooking, and I'd always when I was at college doing accountancy. It was also a catering college, and so lots of people were doing catering. And I used to look longingly at their books while I was doing costing. They were doing recipes and how to run a restaurant, and I nearly changed at that point. So I had to get that out of my
your system.
my system. And running a hotel, I have to say, is the hardest thing you'll ever do. But much better doing it when you're 20s than when you retire.
Yeah, that makes sense, definitely. So how did you end up in Portsmouth?
Yeah, so I worked after having the hotel. We kind of realised that North Wales closed for the tourist industry around about September, and there was no business until March. So I decided to go back into work, and I ended up working for a chicken abattoir and a lamb and beef abattoir in between times. And then my wife, Michelle, fell pregnant, and we decided we wanted to move closer to home. So it was just job searching, and it just happened to be a GRP-style company in Portsmouth. And we came down in 97.
Yeah. So was that your first sort of foray into glass reinforced plastic?
Absolutely. I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's quite a sort of variance in roles before that.
I loved the food industry. I loved that whole piece around the manufacturing side. And the complexities that run alongside it. And I would have loved to have stayed in that industry, but a role didn't come along for me. The closest I'd got to a GRP was riding around in my granddad's bubble car when I was a kid. So that was the first. But accountants, you're adaptable, and really it's about business, and it's about people, and you should be able to work in lots of different environments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, makes sense. You set GRP up with your wife. So how did that come about? What was your sort of journey from sort of stepping into the sort of fiberglass world in that role to actually setting your own business up?
Yes, I mean, I'd been in the fiberglass industry for, I don't know, more than 15, nearly 20 years beforehand. And I'd ended up becoming the MD of a business that was a subsidiary of a PLC, and that got sold on to an American group who decided they didn't want the GRP style business. They wanted aerospace. They wanted something a bit more sexy, and we tried to do a management buyout, but they didn't want to do that. So we ended up being sold, and we got sold to someone who, let's just say, my idea of culture and their idea of culture, they didn't mix.
No.
So I left, and I then found myself as an MD of an employee-owned specialist electronics business in Aberystwyth.
Yeah.
And having done that for about 6 months, as it happened, I had the opportunity to set up this business afresh. And I spoke to the company I'd just gone to work for, and they understood. And so they said, actually, carry on doing what you're doing for us, and while you're setting up the GRP business. So I was very lucky, and I did that.
Yeah.
I did that for 2.5 years until actually it was we had managed to grow both businesses very strongly, but it wasn't great for family, me commuting back and forth to Aberystwyth every other week.
It's quite the commute from Portsmouth.
Yeah, I'd leave at 4:30 on a Monday morning, and I'd arrive in the office at 9 o'clock Monday morning. And then it was also trying to find accommodation. So
Yeah.
I rented a cottage for a while, but then I've stayed in a caravan. I stayed in a garden shed, a converted garden shed. I stayed in hotel. I stayed in all sorts of things. And I loved that. It wasn't, my wife Michelle had to look after teenage kids doing the exams, so I had the easy job. So, but it was a great time.
Yeah, the teenage kids doing exams. Suddenly, I can see the appeal of a commute to Aberystwyth. Actually,
Yeah. Well, exactly. I think when I moan about the commute, Michelle says you had the easy job, and I agree with it.
So GRP then, I guess people will know what glass reinforced plastic or fiberglass is. What sort of things do you make?
Yeah, so we supply manufacturers, people like Sunseeker, so making massive yachts, but it also goes into wastewater tanks. It goes into a whole host of construction projects, dormer windows, flat roofs. There's a whole multitude of uses for fiberglass.
So you don't make the end product; you make the material that makes the end product.
No, we distribute it. So we buy it in bulk, and we sell it on through our network of amazing sales team who have got huge amounts of experience in the industry. And so we supply manufacturers across the whole of the UK, and we're now the biggest distributor of that style of product in the UK.
Okay, and I think people might think a nice small local business, but actually your footprint stretches far beyond Portsmouth, doesn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, I think we managed to take the business to over 30 million with around about 35 members of staff in the GRP business. And we've been acquiring some businesses over the years. So we acquired a business in Glasgow, so we have another depot there. Recently acquired a business in Warrington, and now we've acquired a specialist electrical wholesale business in Waterlooville. So in total, I think we're up to around about 60 staff.
Yeah. Wow, good stuff. Now, with all of that, you have quite a strong community focus. So we've already mentioned you're a Shaping Portsmouth patron. You do work with Unlock, with Urbond. You've done loads here where we are today in Spark.
Yes.
And in fact, I think you're largely responsible for how much of the building looks.
Well, I think there was a number of people,
Yeah.
a number of businesses, and I think that's, something very special, probably about Portsmouth, is that people were willing to help out, and there was a whole team of businesses that helped out here. And I think when we saw the vision that Becky had, and I remember her writing out the plan of what she wanted on a sheet of A4, and I know she's still got that, and I still have a copy of that. It just blew us away as to what she wanted, and you couldn't help her deliver it, because she wanted this space to look just like any other brilliant coffee shop, but with a lot of kindness built into it, and that's what she's transformed. What was a derelict, unloved space into this vibrant community hub. That's there are so many amazing stories that come out of this building every week.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
It's fabulous, and it's one of those places where when you walk in, you feel you've come home, and you're feeling that you've come to your friends. Yeah. All the volunteers here, they're amazing. Yeah. They're absolutely brilliant people, and some of them are young, some of them are getting on in years, but they work incredibly hard. My wife volunteers on a Thursday here, and I know when she comes home she's shattered. It's full on, and but the support that Becky and the team here are giving to people is something that is very, very, very special.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Becky's an absolute force of nature, and you just you just can't help but be filled with joy every time you come in here. The place is just incredible, isn't it? And in terms of bringing people together and dealing with sort of isolation and that sort of loneliness and making people feel part of something and having somewhere to go, it is just truly amazing, isn't it?
I mean, no one here sits on their own.
No.
Or certainly not for very long, because the whole point is that the team understand that.
Yeah.
And they from the outside in, you'd look like you're running a coffee shop.
Yep.
Except it's a pay what you can afford model, which for me I think is just fabulous. Yeah. Because it doesn't create a barrier to entry for anybody who needs to come in.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that model works so well. And she needs to be held out as a shining vision, really, in this city.
Oh, without a doubt. And so we mentioned a couple of others there in terms of Unlock, Bond, people that we at Shaping know very well as well. One that I'd never heard of before that you mentioned was ACCI in Birmingham.
Yes,
an organisation you support, who, again, another little interesting kind of story.
So ACCI has been going for over 25 years. It was originally created by Rastafarians who saw a need in their community, and it's since now helping people still from the African Caribbean community, but people of any community now. And it's again dealing with mental health awareness, making sure that people with mental health issues can get access to things like a bank account.
Yep.
And they're also, so they provide assistance to people in their own home, but they also have a space kind of similar to this, in that they are inviting people in, they're providing them with amazing food, support and activities, and taking people away on holiday where some people have never ever been. They've never been away, never had a holiday, never had a passport, and but they're also doing some really serious stuff, and that is having people referred who have had attempted suicide. And the amount of people that have come through the door of ACCI who would say, members would say, if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be alive. And that's very powerful when you hear someone's testimony, some very sad testimony, but actually now also very positive, because people have actually changed their life, and they have been so well supported, and we were lucky because one of our business managers knew of ACCI and encouraged us to be supportive, and now he's sitting on their board, and I think that's something, for our organisation. It's, I think, for charities and non-profits, of course it's finance. You need they need to be supported, but they need more than that. They need you to be actively involved, and that's what we like to try and do. Is we like to either be a volunteer or be an ambassador, or sit on an advisory board or on the board, so that we can help with our business network and our business knowledge, and that's what a lot of businesses can do. When Becky has a problem here, she'll send out a WhatsApp to probably half a dozen people. We will all use our business network and say, have we got someone who can solve that problem? And by and large, we can. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to encourage. Say at ACCI, we're trying to build a network of corporates who would be willing to give money, but also be willing to be there when they've got a problem.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we do through the charity support program. Is exactly that, going across our network when charities have a specific problem, and invariably we can always find someone who can address it quickly.
Yeah. Well, actually, shaping. When we moved our business from Havant to Portsmouth. We came to shaping originally because we were looking to try and we had a network of friends who had amazing skills, and we wanted to support people in the community, youngsters in the community, through that. And we approached shaping, and so we are immensely grateful because through shaping, the first contact we had was with Hayden, and then with Unlock, and Hayden, Ben, and the team at Unlock, and that was our first. After Naomi's House, they were our first charity partner, and that's it's been an amazing journey. And for us, it's part of our culture. Our culture is doing good, doing the right thing, and we have the business piece, which is around delivering better solutions and driving change, but part of our purpose is to do good, and that's not a nice to have. It's not a tick box. It's something you've got to live as a business. Yeah. And that's why we support the community. But from that, what comes from that is a much stronger team of people who understand that our business is different. It's not just about coming in 9 to 5. It's about doing good things for other people, and that's really what we're doing in our business life. Yeah. We're trying to find solutions for customers, and outside of work, we're trying to do the same thing. And that has brought so much strength to our business that, for whatever we've given to charity has been far outweighed by the strength it's given to our business. And I'm kind of evangelical about that message because, as an accountant, you would imagine it was all about the numbers. Yeah. But it's not. It's about people.
Well, there's the old adage, isn't it, that the purpose of business is to create value, and originally that was always seen as value for the owner, the shareholders, in terms of finance. Yeah. These days, it's completely different to that, and social value plays a huge part in that. And that there is an argument that the point of business is now to make the whole environment better, not just the owners.
Yeah, and I think it's a really difficult piece to talk around because what you don't want is you don't want to come across holier than thou. That's for one. You don't want to come across as that you support charity because there's something in it for you. Yep. That's not the purpose. But actually, by supporting community, actually you build a better business. Yeah. And so they are not mutually exclusive. They support each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ethos I've kind of championed with shaping, and that I suppose coming in as a new CEO and looking what is making this work, and particularly what is the Pompey factor that's going on here, the
Yeah.
Portsmouth factor. And for me, it very much is that community over competition and that recognition that we're actually all stronger together. And you therefore have to look after every bit of the ecosystem,
Yeah.
not just your little bit of business.
Yes, and I think that's, huge credit to shaping. That I don't know if there's like a shaping anywhere else in the country, but here
I
in
can't
Portsmouth,
find one.
no, here in Portsmouth, it seems to work brilliantly. Bringing in business, charities, education. It's a fantastic network, and I think people here in Portsmouth are very ready to be supportive of each other.
Yeah. So in there, you mentioned Naomi's House,
Yes.
which brings us on to the Big Five challenge.
Yeah.
So do you want to explain what the Big Five is to start with?
Yeah. So Naomi's House are children's hospice, and Jack's Place is the young person's hospice, and they have an amazing network of corporate partners. And what they wanted to do was to get 5 CEOs from their corporate partners to do 5 unique challenges. And so I was speaking to Ella Clayton, who was from Naomi's House, and she said, what sort of things do you love? And I said, I'd love to do Race Around the World.
Yeah.
And she said, well, why don't you do a challenge? Why don't you do the first Big Five challenge and do like a Get Me Out of Here challenge?
Yeah.
And so she was to blame. And the challenge was effectively, my challenge was to leave Portsmouth with £250 and see how far I could get.
Yeah.
And I managed to get to the very north of Norway.
Right. So was the limit the money, or was the limit you only had 5 days, or was it? Just
Yeah, it was a bit of
one
both. It was a bit of both, really. And I think, unfortunately, now with the political situation, you're kind of hemmed in into how far that you can go in 5 days. And so, it was. But the money was really, there's a little bit of both, the time and the money. Was the challenge, because the 250 was for your travel, for your food, for everything. And so it was a reasonable challenge for someone my size, let's say.
Yeah.
Who quite enjoys eating.
It's not a lot of money, 250.
No, it's not. So I did take a backpack full of biscuits. And some food. And so actually, I think I got to day 4 before I actually had my first meal out of my backpack. Up until then, it was Border biscuits, I think. That kept me going.
So how do you approach that then? Did you kind of scope your plan beforehand?
Yes,
And you kind of the transport routes.
Yeah, and I think you also, of course, you have to do it as well as to trying to find something interesting to have a bit of social media presence in. If you were going just to bus stations around Europe, it would be a bit dull. So, and I'd spent quite a lot of my life working in Scandinavia, and so but I'd never been to Lapland or the north. I'd only kind of worked in Helsinki, and I spent a lot of time in Estonia. So I kind of knew if I could get there, then that would be quite interesting. You got Father Christmas, and that kind of linked in really nicely with for the children to see Father Christmas on that journey. And it was just a bit different. So I did. Unlike me, I did do a fair bit of pre-planning, partly because once you start getting quite north, buses run once a day. They don't run on a Saturday. They don't run on a Sunday.
Well, I mean, obviously, clearly going back to the whole reason for coming up with this challenge in the first place, which is the kind of the race across the world concept. I'm guessing you're you're a fan of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which my wife and I am as well. And the first thing you learn from that is they frequently turn up at a bus station to find there's not a bus till tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, that's right. And the whole point of the exercise is to raise money.
Yeah.
And so there'd be very little point in not getting outside the UK.
Yeah.
So there was some pre-planning, but you never know is the other thing. You don't know whether you're going to miss a bus. And I nearly missed the bus out of Portsmouth because the first bus left the Hard at 3:20, and I got to Portsmouth, the dockyard, at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then realised that the bus station was closed for renovation, and I had no idea where the buses were running from. So I was running around, scrabbling around, thinking, God, I'm going to miss my first bus. This is not going to look good.
No.
And then the amazing thing is at 3:20 you're sitting on this bus, and suddenly you hear a voice that you think, I recognise that, and it was Paul from Naomi's House, who had come to see me off at 3 o'clock in the morning, and to lend me his bear, Jack, who turned into the star. Yeah,
the star of the show.
So it was amazing to see Paul Morgan there, and that tells you a lot about the charity. That it's not just about fundraising partners and money. They're very much part of our family. And to have taken the time to have come down to Portsmouth at 3 o'clock was quite emotional, actually, and was a lovely way to start the journey.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you knew roughly where you wanted to go. Did you actually have a target end destination? Like, I want to get to this specific place.
Yes. Once you start going north, there's only so far you can get, and Hammerfest is the most northerly town in the world.
Right.
And I thought that sounded like
sounds like an interesting place, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was quite interesting because when I arrived, it was during a gale, and a storm, and I arrived around about 8 o'clock, and it was like this. Bearing in mind that the bus journey was cancelled because of the roads and the weather, I thought I wasn't going to get there. So when I actually got there at 8 o'clock, I did all my social media piece, and then I thought, I'm going to go and have a meal now. And I went into this lovely restaurant. I ordered a beer, and I said, can I have a menu? And the guy behind the bar said, we just stopped serving food 15 minutes ago. You should have booked.
Oh no!
He said, yeah, next time book. So yeah, I didn't even eat on the last night
Saves
of the journey.
a bit of your 250 quid, I guess.
Well, it had finished by then, so I could have spent whatever I liked.
Oh no! Yeah. Oh dear. So and I'm guessing you obviously mentioned the weather there, but a gale and a bit of a storm down here is one thing. I'm guessing in the Arctic Circle,
it was pretty serious.
Quite different.
I was quite lucky that I think the worst weather we'd seen is about -20, which for around there is not particularly cold. But the last leg, I walked 5 miles from where it was my only night of accommodation. All the rest was on buses.
Yeah.
So I left. It was dark, of course, because it's dark about 11 o'clock. I walked the 5 miles to the bus station or to the hotel, which acted as a bus station. And the person said, "I'll just check to see the buses are running because there's a hell of a storm going on." And she said, "Yeah," she said, "I think they're running, but they've closed some roads on the way to Hammerfest because buses can get swept over into the field." And so when the bus arrived, he said, "Yeah, jump on." He said, "But we're only going halfway." And so I thought, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do out in the middle of nowhere in a Norwegian town? So he dropped me off, and that's when I had to hitchhike because there were no buses. There was no transport. They'd reopened the roads, but there were no buses going. And fortunately, a guy picked me up and took me the last leg, but it was pretty hairy. It was a good job it was dark because you couldn't see down the field. but at some points the car just had to stop because of the wind and the snow, and it was pretty incredible.
And how was sleeping on buses for 5 days? Did you actually get any sleep?
Yeah. Normally my wife would say that I can sleep anywhere,
Right.
but actually
Handy.
I didn't really do an awful lot of sleeping because, funny enough, you kind of get carried away with posting and taking photographs and all of the social media bits that you needed to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't sleep. I mean, the longest leg was 23 hours.
Right.
From Berlin through Poland, Latvia, Lithuania to Estonia, and that 23 hours. And of course, the bus stops every couple of hours.
Yeah.
The lights all go on. Everyone gets off the bus. Other people get on the bus, and so you never slept for more than 2 hours at a time.
So how many countries did you travel through in the 5 days? Do you know?
I can't remember now. I can't remember. It must have been over a dozen. I think. Yeah. And it was quite nice. Some nice memories of going back to Tallinn. The Christmas market was on, and I'd spend a lot of time working in Estonia, so that was quite sweet. But yeah, it was an amazing adventure, and something I was so lucky. And that's what we say about Naomi's House is they say thank you when you raise money, but we say thank you for giving us a chance to do such crazy stuff, because we would have never have done that. We've done the 3 peaks. We've walked 50 kilometres along the Thames. We've done all sorts of things as a business. We'd never have done, and it's brought all of those fundraising activities bring your team together like nothing else.
Definitely.
So we're very grateful to them.
Yeah, and the wider community around you as well, who chip in. So I would imagine you had quite a lot of people avidly following your social media posts each day, and wondering where you'd got to. And
it was funny because when you're planning it, people are saying actually perhaps that's too much to post every day because people won't be interested, but actually people were really interested to know where you'd got to. So,
because did anyone beyond yourself actually know where you were?
No, only a couple of people in the marketing team, in the charity and our marketing guy. So Jeremy. So and they did an amazing job of the social media posts. It was fab.
Yeah. So you mentioned Tallinn there, and in a minute we'll come on to a bit of a local recommendation, as we do with the podcasts, of somewhere to go in Portsmouth. But outside of Portsmouth, if people were going to get out of the UK and visit places, Tallinn definitely somewhere to go. Amazing walled medieval city, and things like even the KGB headquarters down a side street. And you mentioned the Christmas market.
Yeah, it's a fabulous.
It's incredible.
It's
place.
like going back in time.
Absolutely. I was going to say my overriding memory of Tallinn is the medieval restaurants.
Yes,
absolutely incredible. You absolutely are stepping back into time there. But what were the other highlights of places? Was there anywhere on the trip that you'd not been to before and thought, wow, this is amazing?
Yeah, I think seeing Father Christmas in
Lapland.
In Lapland, that was I because I was on a tight timetable. I got there at I think 6:30 in the morning, and so I queued to meet Father Christmas in my big red ski jacket. Some lady from Singapore thought I worked there, thought I was Father Christmas, until I had to disabuse her of that fact. But meeting him, it's so funny. It was like being a child. And that was a really lovely experience. But I also managed to visit Husky Farm,
right?
And that was they were so friendly. Those dogs, they look so aggressive, but they're so friendly and so loving. Those dogs. That was another highlight, I think.
Yeah, definitely. definitely. So some great tips there. Lapland's not. I don't generally favour snow and the cold, so it's not somewhere I've ever been inclined to go before. But
Yeah, the light is amazing. The light is amazing. Even in November, you get that. The sun is never rising, but you get this kind of pinky tinge to the sky just before it goes dark, and it's an incredible feeling.
See, I've done it the other way round, where I've done Finland in the summer.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Up at Vasa.
Oh, yeah.
And therefore you don't get a sunset. You get that tinge at about 2-3 a.m.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
The rest of it is sunlight.
Yeah. Well, I think when I finished the trip, I had to take a cruise ship back to Sweden, and it was interesting that why you would want to do a cruise around the fields in the wintertime, because after 11 o'clock it was dark, and so you're on this cruise ship going through another storm with the waves crashing above the roof of the ship, and you can't see anything.
No.
So there's only eating and drinking to be done on there. But
it's not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, you do miss out on the fjords, I guess, and the scenery. But an amazing challenge. Do you know how much you raised?
We raised £15,000, and we had 2 really big donations from one of our customers, Pure Water, who really get it, and they're very much on our wavelength in terms of culture, and our supply chain partner, who was Ineos Composites at the time.
And do you know what challenges the other 4 CEOs have got? Did you get the rough end of the deal here?
No, they're all. Yeah, I don't know. They're all. That's a closely guarded secret. And I think the next one is going to be done fairly shortly.
Yeah.
I think you just have to watch this space for that.
We'll see. So what's the future hold for GRP then? Continue growing and.
Yes, I think the challenge for us is to we've set out this ethos about, can you grow a business with the right culture and be successful?
Yeah.
And so that's my driver. And so we've made some acquisitions. We'll continue to make acquisitions, but it will be interesting to see how we bring existing culture and our culture together. Yeah. And to develop businesses, and so we've not finished yet. I think we've got a long way to go, and and it's wonderful working with wonderful people. Yeah, we have this saying that our secret, there's no secret to our success. It's our people, and it's our culture, and hopefully we can bring that into other businesses.
Definitely, and a good way to think. So I kind of warned you ahead of time that we always finish the podcast with a little bit of a recommendation of somewhere to go, something to do in Portsmouth.
Yes.
So what would be your top tip?
So my top tip is the Garage Lounge.
Okay.
And that is at the top of the Albert Road, and it's a great place to go for breakfast. And we do, I do some mentoring, and I mentor a young, guy who's a young guy from Portsmouth University, and that is our go-to place when we have a mentoring catch-up. Yes. Yeah.
So Luca, who you've been mentoring through our business support program,
that's right.
An amazing business, and I think he's just on the cusp of really launching that properly with the app. But
Local linked.
Yeah. Really, really great business, great story, and the way different people have helped him out on that journey, and of course his own footprint here as a volunteer at Spark as well.
Yeah, and he's a young guy who he's not in it just about talked about business. Yeah. He's not in it just about money. He's got a very strong feeling about doing the right thing. And supporting community, and that's really encouraging to see.
Yeah, I really like it because he's kind of solving a problem more than going after the money. And he's kind of looking back on how his journey into being a university student in Portsmouth started, and actually that I suppose how students interact with those local businesses in the community, and it's a really great idea. But so the garage lounge, it's not one I've been to, so I'm gonna have to add that to the list. And
top of Albert Road.
It's not one that's ever come up in the podcast before, so you've done well as well in coming up with a really unique
it would
one.
have to be a food place for me, so
no, that's great. Look, could chat to you loads more about all the great stuff yourself and GRP are doing. What an amazing business it is. Thank you for all you do for the community. Thank you for everything you do for us at Shaping Portsmouth as well. But brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us today.
It's a pleasure. I love it. It's been nice to have some time to see you, and I'm delighted that what you're doing with Shaping Portsmouth, and it's such a great organisation that, again, you can't help but want to be supportive.
Brilliant.
So, well done.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Okay.
See you soon.
See you soon.
This podcast was brought to you by Shaping Portsmouth, working to make Portsmouth the #1 UK city in which to invest, live, learn, work and visit. To find out more, please visit shapingportsmouth.co.uk. This podcast was supported by Spark Community Space and Portsmouth Community Lottery.